And to understand this profound truth, you got to understand lions. Like, I love lions. Anybody that knows me knows that I love lions. They're all in my office. They're all in my home. Like, they're on my desktop. Like, I love Lion King. I love Lionheart from Care Bears. I love Leo from Thundercats. Like, I love lions, right? I watched National Geographic for hours as a kid. Still do. Because I love lions. And one of the things I learned about lions is they're terrible hunters. In fact, statistically, they are the worst hunter on the planet. They are the worst predator on the planet. But they do have a successful tactic. Well, to them it's successful. But their most used tactic in hunting is that they send this old, decrepit, beat up, ugly, mangy-looking lion into the bush in front of the prey. And this lion's job is to roar really loud to scare the prey, so the prey turns around and runs in the opposite direction because there's an ambush waiting with the rest of the pride in the bush. Now pause that for a sec, and let's jump over to Ephesians 6 chapter where Paul talks about the armor of God, putting on the armor of God, the weapons that we use against Satan's attack. Think about this for a sec. We have the helmet of salvation. We have the breastplate of righteousness. We have the belt of truth. We have the shield of faith. We have the sword of the Spirit. We shod our feet, like we cover our feet with the gospel of peace. Now visualize this for a second. You have all this armor on. What is the only part of your body that's exposed? It's your back. Your back is the only part that's exposed. God has given you everything you need to take on the enemy head on. The Bible says that Jesus defanged the power of the enemy at the cross. He has no power against you. He can't hurt you. He can't harm you. He can't touch you. You are protected by the power of Jesus Christ and the blood of the cross. And all he can do is get you to turn in fear and run away from God's calling in your life, so that you go ruin your own life in an ambush that he has prepared for you. He can't hurt you. He can't take you. Your soul is lost to him. But what he can do is get you to turn around and run and ruin your life so your life is no longer a witness to Jesus in the world. That's his plan. It's all a lie. This is why Rick teaches all the time that fear is false evidence appearing real. It's a scam. He's been lying to us for years. He uses fear for us to run away from our calling. I was afraid of this calling for years. I ran away from it. I'm not afraid of the stage. I'm not afraid of you, your family. I love you. But the enemy liked to remind me of my speech impediment that I had all throughout grade school. He likes to remind me of my learning disability that I had all throughout high school. He likes to remind me of all the bad things I've done in my life. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not holy enough for this. You can't do this. And guess what I have to tell the enemy? In Christ, all things are possible. It is not me, but it's Christ within me. So I might not be enough, but Jesus is enough. That's my encouragement to you. Do not let fear keep you from the new thing that God is doing in your life. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. He's the coward. Punch the devil in his mouth like you're supposed to. Do not let fear stop you from walking in your calling. The second enemy of new is disobedience. It's disobedience. So when Jesus met Peter, Peter was out fishing. This is what he does. He's a professional fisherman. And Jesus said those famous words to him, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And for the next 3 years, Peter got a front row seat to Jesus' ministry, his miracles, and his message. I mean, think about this. For 3 years, Jesus personally poured out into Peter's life and prepared him and equipped him with everything he needed to change the world. But when Jesus was captured and beaten and crucified, Peter denied him. Peter denied even knowing him and ran in the opposite direction. And we know the story. After 3 days, Jesus rises from the dead. He's resurrected, and he comes out on the shore where Peter and the rest of the disciples are at. And Peter is doing what? He's fishing. He went back to the life that Jesus called him out of. And I get this. I get this. For the last 20 years, my vocation has been marketing and communications. It's what I have my degree in. It's what I'm good at. It's what I've been doing. So I get hiding behind your vocation and being afraid to take that risk that God is calling you to, especially when you're skilled at that vocation. I get this. It's disobedience, but I get it. Now, some of you might say, well, Peter was just, he was going to eventually get to it, right? He just had to make some money first. Well, let me tell you this. Delayed obedience is disobedience. Delayed obedience is disobedience. And we know this as parents. When we tell our kids to do something, we're not saying do it on your own time when it's convenient for you. When we tell our kids to do something, we're like, do it now. Do it now. Some of you right now are sitting on a dream that God gave you and doing nothing with it. Some of you right now are in disobedience with God, and he is giving you explicit instructions what to do, and you're like, y'all get to it when the time is right.
Never wait on the right time, because the right time ain't ever coming. All that, when we get my ducks lined up in the row, no you won't. No you won't. Because as you have aspirations, you got to understand that the devil understands your aspirations too. The devil's job is to rob you of your destiny. So there will always be an obstacle. So if you're waiting on the right time, you'll never make the move. You have to go. See, devil, he only has one job, to rob you of what God intended for you to be. That's his only job. So he has a lot of people that work for him full time. They're called haters. And they at work all the time. And you all experience with them too. And so what you got to do is, when you have these ideas of greatness, you got to go forward, because it's not going to be a right time. Just go. Just go. Go jump. Take a chance. I walked in a comedy club October 8th, 1985. Had never been in a comedy club, had only heard about it. I was writing jokes for this comedian. This girl told me, you're writing his jokes? I said, yeah. She said, why don't you do them yourself? I said, how? Where? She said, a comedy club. I said, what's that? She says, comedy club. She said, why are you writing jokes for him? You ought to tell him yourself. She said, I'm going to pick you up Tuesday and take you. We drove 45 minutes from Cleveland to Hilarious Comedy Club. I signed up for the following week. 9 guys went up. I was just staring at them. She said, how come you're not laughing? Because I was just staring at them. Because every joke they told, I knew what they were going to say. And deeper than that, I knew what they should have said. And then when the 10th person came up, they called his name. And scared and left. So they said, we're going to go to next week's list. Is Steve Harvey still here? And I looked at her and I said, man, this dude in here got the same name I got. She said, you know what? You a stupid. And he said, Steve Harvey, you here? Come on up. I'd never been on stage in my life as a stand-up. I ran up on stage. Long story short, they had a clap-off. I won $50, amateur night. For 45 minutes, I cried all the way home. That girl said, why are you crying? It ain't but $50. I said, no, you don't understand. I was born tonight. I said, this is what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. She said, you just won $50, you gotta go back. I said, I'm gonna go back, but this is what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. October 9th, the next morning, I went to my job and quit my job with $50. $50. I just quit. Ex-wife left me. Mother-in-law, boy, I cost some help. Made $3,000 first year in business, $5,200 the second year, $7,300 the third year. Became homeless, lost everything I ever owned, lived in a car for 3 years. I kept telling them jokes. My father was the only one who believed in me. My mother, my brothers, sisters, all my friends, man, get out of that, man. You ain't making no money. You can't tell no jokes. I just kept on. I just kept on. I'd have made a lot of money, but I took a chance when it didn't line up. But you can't wait till it line up. You gotta jump. If you ever planning on soaring, you're gonna have to jump. Now, I don't suggest you jumping like I did. That ain't for the faint of heart. But if you don't do it now, when you gonna do it?
I haven't forgotten about you. I said you'd go into the promised land. You're still going to go in. There were 3 giants living on that land. Caleb could have said, God, give me another place. Those people are too big. I'm too old now. No, don't settle for a watered down version of your dream. At 85, Caleb said, God, I still want that mountain. He went out and defeated those giants and made it into the promised land. It's not too late for you to become all you were created to be. God has not forgotten about the dreams He put in your heart. You're not running out of time, you're running into time. God is ordering your steps. Opportunities that didn't happen years earlier, you didn't miss it. It wasn't the right time. The door had to close. The people had to be against you. The business had to not make it. It was all setting you up for the best wine. God saves the best for next. I believe and declare you're about to come in to some best opportunity, best relationship, best health, best resources. Like that widow woman, because you keep God first place, you're going to go from running out to running over, from not enough to more than enough.